On my plane leaving the U.S. to my new home, a small town deep in the Amazon jungle, I asked myself if I was crazy. I had just left almost everything. I left my new girlfriend, my spiritual community, my friends, my psychotherapy practice, everything I owned except for the 2 duffel bags I carried with me. I was leaving to work with an incredibly gifted Indigenous Shipibo shaman. I grew up with trauma that could be horrifyingly brutal, horrifying. At times, life or death. Am I getting out of this alive? Who's getting out of this alive? I was 11 years old. We never talked about it afterwards. I spent the first half of my life running from it, pushing it down, stuffing it down, trying to numb it, doing anything I could to escape from it. It didn't work, of course. I spent the second half of my life doing everything I could to recover. At first, I was incapacitated. The flashbacks would have me out of my mind. There was almost nothing I could do. The second half of my life, it started to get better. After 20 years on paper, it looked like I was healing. I had my psychotherapy practice. I was involved in different communities. But I lived a double life. I would go home, and when I was drifting off to sleep, the screams would yell forth, just the PTSD erupting from me. I still lived in a hypervigilant place. If somebody slammed a door, I would still be in that fight or flight place. And even in a conversation with somebody I cared about, I would still go in way too tight, this hyper-focused trauma. It was awkward for them, I'm sure. It was uncomfortable for me. Didn't really have close relationships. I just spent time in groups. I was with a shaman for over a year in the jungle. Beautiful man. Oh. I worked with the shaman and the plants, and the shaman and plants would bring me right back into the trauma, right back into the experience. It wasn't me reflecting on it or remembering it. It was the consciousness right back there in the trauma, reliving it, re-experiencing with every fiber of my being, with my soul. Sometimes it was almost overwhelming. I would be doubled over as the memories, the experience would just flow through me. And then the shamans and the plants would dissolve it all. And I would experience the small self dissolving, just like the mystics of so many traditions have told us. The small self dissolving into infinite love and compassion, infinite light flowing through me, pure love, compassion, and joy. Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. Oh my God. After almost a year of this, at a grueling pace, traumas and dietas, the retreats with the plants, it's kind of like a silent meditation retreat, not really, but it's a retreat with the plants. And working through all these traumas, all the pain, there was one ceremony I went in. The shaman worked with a lot of plants, but one of the plants was ayahuasca. Very beautiful spirit, very healing. I was in the healing ceremony, and the plants, I experienced the plants as sentient, many of us do. The plants brought me through a life review, and I experienced and relived all this trauma and pain, the emptiness, confusion. And then the plants brought me through the 20 years of doing everything I could to save my life. And if I loved it, I would study it, becoming a psychotherapist, therapeutic body worker. I do cranial sacral therapy, EMDR, the list goes on and on. I studied with phenomenally and worked with phenomenally gifted healers. The plants showed me all this. I experienced it. And then they said to me, do you see how everything you've done for 20 years and you haven't scratched the surface? It was a lateral move. Your pain, confusion, and emptiness is still as strong as it ever was. It hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. It looks different on paper, but it's still the same. I had just lived through hours of this. I couldn't deny it. I experienced it and saw it. Then the plants said, you've experienced this confusion, pain, and emptiness, and you've experienced the light, the love, the infinite love. Now you can choose. I chose the light and the love, small self dissolving, pain, confusion, emptiness flowing from my body, infinite love flowing in, pleasure, joy. I am light. The shaman is light. It's only light. Hands involuntarily lifting above my head, holding a huge ball of light, radiating love and light. And I hear, this is for everyone. This is for everyone. You're not good if you accept. You're not bad if you don't. You don't have to read 5 volumes. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. This is free, just like the sun. This is for everyone.